We are what we ingest. On the planet, a high proportion of human beings concentrates on food. Weight Watchers Anonymous. Things measured carefully for their content of fattening substances. But few seem to take attention when it comes to what goes into the other part of their being. For after all, the soul is the form of life, and the matter will go away, and the quality of the soul's life will go on forever and ever, and its weight will be made not of fatty substances, but of merit or demerit. And therefore we need wisdom. Sophia, Hagia Sophia, holy wisdom. It's present in the Eastern liturgy when the priest is about to proclaim the Gospel. Sophia, orthos. Wisdom, be upright. And they are invited to pay attention. And so are we. Being taught early on the discipline of Lectio Divina, we were instructed also with regard to bodily preparation. The custom was to begin Lectio Divina in the quiet time between vigils and lauds on one's knees. One began with an invocation of the Holy Spirit in one's own words, and it was to be parallel to the epiclesis which the celebrants would make over the holy gifts at the liturgy itself, in such a way that the Spirit of God moved again upon the face of the earth and breathed upon the words, so that they were energized and jumped out of the page and warmed the soul in its depths. And then one carried on one's knees for the first verses, and only then was one encouraged to, if one wanted, sit down. And it was to be heart knowledge, not head knowledge, in such a way that when the heart was warmed, one stayed with the word. And therefore it was not at all just reading, it was a mode of entry into. It was a launching pad, and one stayed in flight if one was well launched, for the engagement had started, and therefore the prompting had done its work. And then one came back to more words, if needed, lest one go into the void of distraction and problem solving. Wisdom is a participation in the knowledge of the Logos, and that wisdom must be proclaimed and given to the people of God on not only a weekly basis, but a daily basis. In parallel to the bread of life, the food of the soul is wisdom on the level of the intellect, and there has to be growth. And for that to happen, the preacher himself needs to be always taking in new participation and not recycling. Otherwise, if one does not read and listen, one only repeats in a different form what one already has in one's own store. The hungry sheep look up and are not fed. And if one only is exposed to news, then news will come out in the homily. More of the same thing, even on a Sunday. We need elevation and not more of the material and the passing. One needs to be for a little while with the angels and not with naughty men. It is important that on a Sunday the people of God be given an experience and not just more of what they have already. Come, children, and hear me, that I may teach you the fear of the Lord. Who is he who longs for life and many days to enjoy prosperity? Then keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. We have 2 ears and 1 tongue. The invitation is to listen and speak far less. Turn aside from evil and do good. Seek and strive after peace. The original would be seek after peace and pursue it. The pursuit of peace is a whole quest. Shalom was far more than a cessation of hostilities for the Hebrew. In Welsh there is distinction between heddwch, peace, and tangnefedd, which is a deep stillness and peace. And that is what we need. We need to be in still mode, even in the noise, not always in turbulence. If we are vibrating at the same frequency as events and things outside us, then we'll never be in peace. Our soul needs to be anchored at the deepest level of the ocean of the Blessed Trinity, for what is at the ocean bed is calmer than what is happening at the surface, where breakers is all that may be seen. We only have a certain amount of time, and we need to redeem the time, as St. Paul warns us in Ephesians, making the best of what is out there, for he explains that the times are evil, but time is precious, and we need therefore to evaluate it, making it, as it were, lucrative in its merit, redeeming it, purchasing it back from what is out there, lost time. And there is much lost time. One sees that at the death of a young person, how many young people do not evaluate time, perhaps see it when it's no longer there for what it is, precious and unrepeatable, even in its smallest fraction. And after death, especially a sudden death, wow, one thinks what time could have been when there is no more. On the soul will go with its baggage, acquired in the little point that we call time, forever and evermore. But the soul also needs grace, it needs life, it needs warmth and engagement. And our Eucharistic encounters must be that. The celebrant must be a mystagogue, leading the flock into glory, as Moses did. There are times when the priest needs to be alone. It is well suggested in the Eastern Rite when genuinely at times he is alone with the angels. But we need to allow the priest to be with his God, for then alone will he bring the people with him into God. If all the time he is engaging with the people, then we have once more of the same thing. The dynamic of the second part of the sacred liturgy is purely vertical and not horizontal. Why? We're handling not man but God, and man is handled only to bring him to God. And therefore communication there is with God. Oh, that we knew what Benedict called the ars celebrandi. For Benedict was a man who by intuition knew what celebration was. Because to love God is to love the beauty of God and to want to reflect it. The shoddy has no place in the house of God, neither has the banal, and even less the superficial and the happy-clappy. The angels have another language, and with our interior ear we need to hear it. Hagios otheos, hagios ischiros, hagios athanatos, eleis onimas is their continuous chant, heard by the fathers of the desert. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us.